At my dad's retirement party, I asked, "So, how's the house I bought you?" He looked confused and said, "What house?" My brother went pale. I stood up, faced him, and said, "Show me the deed. Right now." And then everything unraveled. Imagine standing at your dad's retirement party, surrounded by family, laughter, and a lifetime of memories, and then, with one question, watch everything you thought you knew about your own brother shatter into a million pieces. Because that night, I asked about the house I bought our parents, and my dad looked at me, completely bewildered, and said, "What house?" The silence that followed was deafening, a scream nobody made, and that's when I knew something was horribly, terribly wrong. See, my name's Evan. I'm 32, the oldest, the one who always figures things out. My whole life, I've been the fixer. Professionally, I'm an actor, commercials, small parts on streaming shows, a couple of indie films that paid in craft services, and exposure. I know how to hit my mark, how to cry on cue, how to smile at casting directors even when they're saying, "You're great, but we're going in another direction." But at home, my role was even more defined, the family problem solver. I'd book flights, translate medical bills, show up with takeout when the month stretched too long. Dad still called me kiddo, even at 30. Mom would joke, "He acts like a saint," then laugh at her own punchline. Then there's Liam, my younger brother. He was the details guy, the spreadsheet wizard, the one who loved binders and lanyards. He called himself a real estate person, which was generous. He'd never actually closed a deal without my money on the table, but he played the part so well. The night everything exploded was Dad's retirement party. We had paper lanterns, disposable cameras, a huge "Thank you, Frank" banner strung across the VFW stage. Dad was beaming, hugging everyone until their ribs squeaked. I brought a framed photo of him at 20, grinning in a hard hat, and honestly, I couldn't stop smiling myself. Then, during his speech, I just raised my hand, like a kid in class. "Do you like the house I bought you?" I blurted out. He blinked. "What house?" The room hiccuped. Conversation died. The DJ pretended to fuss with his equipment. I turned to Liam. He froze. His jaw tightened just a fraction. Mom just stared at the cake, as if it held all the answers. "What house?" Dad repeated, softer this time, like the words themselves might bruise him. I pushed back my chair, its legs screeching against the floor. "Show me the deed," I told Liam. "Now." He tried to laugh it off. "Evan, not here." "Here," I said, my voice surprisingly steady. "Because this is where Dad is. This is where the truth is supposed to live." Aunt Naren sucked in a breath. Uncle Joe muttered, "Jesus." The DJ cut the music completely. Even the ice in the punch bowl suddenly sounded loud. Liam's face did a thing I'd seen in auditions, a flicker, a switch, a calculated choice. He plastered on a smile. "Sit down, man. You're making a scene." I looked at Dad. His hands were trembling, but his eyes? They were sharp, clear. "Son," he said. And that was it. A single word, a key turning in a lock I'd been ignoring for too long. The party didn't matter. The banner didn't matter. The disposable cameras didn't matter. I wanted the deed. I wanted the truth that should have come with it. Because this didn't start at the VFW hall, not really. It started with 1,000 small things. It always does. Mom's gallbladder went rogue, and I booked the surgeon and paid the deposit. Dad's car died, and I sent money to bridge them to payday. When Dad slipped on ice, I took time off a shoot, slept in a plastic hospital chair for 2 nights, while Liam texted, "Keep me posted from 2 towns over." "Evan's good at this stuff," Mom would say. "He reads the fine print." Over time, reads the fine print just meant pays for whatever is written there. So, when my acting finally paid more than rent and ramen, 2 network commercials back to back, a recurring paramedic on a procedural, I called Dad. "I want to do something big for you," I told him. He laughed. "You already did, kiddo. You grew up." "No," I said. "A house." There was silence. Then a wet exhale. I had the money for a down payment. I had good credit. I had the kind of optimism that makes people do reckless, kind things. Liam, my spreadsheet guy, stepped in. "Let me handle the paperwork, Evan," he said. "I know the county clerk. Less hassle." He sent me a checklist with 30 items. He was calm. He was efficient. He was my brother. We looked at small places near their neighborhood. A 1-story with a ramp, 2 bedrooms so my sister's kids wouldn't sleep on the floor when they visited. Dad walked through each one like a pilgrim. No stairs, he'd say, like a prayer. Mom ran her palm across countertops, whispering, "Imagine Thanksgiving here." We chose a tan ranch with a pear tree in the yard. The seller was moving to Florida, wanted a quick close. I wired the down payment. I paid the inspection. I even ordered a couch that didn't sag in the middle like a tired saint. Liam met me at a coffee shop with manila folders and a pen he loved too much. "We're moving fast," he said. "Seller wants to close by Friday." He slid papers across the table. "Sign here, here, initial there." I signed. He took a photo of me holding a key for our family group chat. Mom sent heart emojis. Dad wrote, "Can't believe it." Then, "You sure we can afford this?" "Yes," I texted back. "I've got it." Moving day felt like a movie montage. Friends, pizza, a neighbor who insisted we take a box of mismatched mugs. I set Dad's recliner by the window where the light fell soft. I hung a framed photo of my parents on their wedding day and made some stupid joke about the 70s. Mom just waved me off, crying into a dish towel. 2 weeks later, the water company sent a bill addressed to tenant. Mom laughed. Weird. It kept happening. Occupant, current resident. I asked Liam. He patted my head, figuratively. It's normal until the deed records. Bureaucracy is slow. The mortgage autopay came out of an account I'd set up with him. He was co-manager because it seemed easier than answering emails between auditions. He'd send monthly summaries with cheerful subject lines. All good. I skimmed. I trusted. I went back to set, practicing lines like, "We've got a 10 to 54 over on 3rd, trying not to sound like a robot. Then the little weirdnesses piled up. A letter from a bank I didn't recognize, addressed to Dad, with a 7-figure pre-approval number. Mom mentioned a man had knocked, asking if the owner was available. When she said it was her house, he laughed politely and said, "I mean the owner." I asked Liam again. Deed should have posted by now. Clerk's behind. He said, "Flip of a switch soon." I looked online. Nothing under Dad's name. I found a parcel number attached to an LLC I didn't know. Merrill Lane Holdings. "That's just a holding entity," Liam said. "Standard stuff. Liability protection. You want Dad sued if the mailman trips." Julia, my girlfriend then, my wife now, stared at my screen. "Why does the mailing address for that LLC go to a UPS store with mailbox number 214? "Ask Liam," I said. She did. His reply? "It's fine. I wanted it to be fine. I wanted my brother to be the guy I handed papers to in coffee shops. He'd always been the kid who lined up his crayons, the one who knew how to open a 529 plan and why we needed a living will. I played dying soldiers. He handled living forms. We fit. 3 months in, Dad's old truck needed repairs. "Use the emergency fund on the house account," I suggested. "We can't cash flow," Liam said. I blinked. "I've been funding it." "Just timing," he said. "A wire is delayed." My stomach went cold. Julia said, "Call the county. Ask for the deed status." I did. The woman on the phone was kind. "What's your name?" "Evan." "Property address?" I told her. "I'm not seeing a deed recorded to a private individual," she said. "It's held by an LLC." She read me the name. It matched the mailbox. "Who's the authorized signer?" I asked. She read a name. It wasn't Dad's. It wasn't mine. "Liam Porter," she said. I hung up and just sat on the floor of my apartment, the cheap rug pressing a grid into my palms. I called Liam. "Why is the deed in your company's name?" He laughed. "Oh my God, chill. It's for taxes. We'll assign it to Dad. There's a sequence." Then, when I asked about the money, he said, "We get a better rate that way. You want to save money, right, Ev?" The word rate clanged in my head. "You refinanced the house I bought without my permission." "It's my permission," he said, suddenly sharp. "I'm the manager. This is how deals work." "You're not a deal," I shot back. "You're my brother." He softened instantly, like he'd flipped a switch I didn't know he had. "Ev, I'm optimizing. You're busy. Let me carry this. Dad will never have to worry." And I wanted to believe him so badly it ached. "Okay," I said. "But I want the deed in Dad's name by the end of the summer." "Done," he said. Summer ended. The deed didn't change. The mailbox number did. The monthly summaries stopped. The house got a second owner inquiry letter. I circled the date on my wall calendar. Dad's retirement party was in 2 weeks. I told Julia, "I'll ask him then. If the deed is in his name, we'll celebrate. If it isn't." "If it isn't," she finished for me. You'll stop letting a lie sit at the head of the table. Back to the VFW hall. Halogen lights, the banner, the silence. What house? Show me the deed, I told Liam. He gave me that grin again. Bro, take out your phone. I said, open the recorder. Walk me through it. Dad murmured, boys, not boys. I kept my eyes on Liam. 2 men, 1 deed. Mom's hand hovered over the cake knife, like she could carve our problem into slices. Evan, you're embarrassing your father. My father, I repeated. Exactly. Liam sighed dramatically and pulled out his phone. Fine, here's the portal. He tapped. The little loading wheel spun. Nothing, he smirked. Bad service. I held out my hand. Give me the login. Absolutely not, he said. Client data. Dad's the client, I said. I'm the funder. Uncle Joe cleared his throat. Maybe step outside. No, Dad said, his voice steady now. He pointed at Liam's phone. Login. Now. Something shifted. Respect. Command. The man we were throwing a party for had managed cranes and crews for 30 years. He could still move steel with his voice. Liam logged in. He turned the screen toward me and scrolled fast, like speed could erase facts. But I caught enough. The LLC's name. Helic Transfers. Marked member draw. Dates that matched his cash flow issues. Numbers that made my throat go dry. How much? I asked. He shrugged. Numbers move. You wouldn't understand. Try me, I said. How much did you pull against Dad's house? He rolled his eyes. Our house. Dad's house, I corrected. Answer the question. Mom whispered, Liam, like she already knew the answer and hated all of us for getting there. He snapped. Okay, 200. Give or take. The room made a sound. Not a gasp. A groan. Like something old, something foundational, giving way. 200,000. I asked. For investments, he said quickly. Short term, high yield. We're up, actually. Julia stepped closer. Then pay it back. Assign the deed. And apologize. He scoffed. Who are you again? The person who will help Evan take this to a lawyer, she said. Mom clutched the knife. Don't bring outsiders into family business. I looked at Dad. Did you sign anything? He shook his head. Your brother said it was complicated. He said he had it. You gave him power of attorney, Mom said. A small, ashamed confession. Just temporary, for convenience. My mouth went hot. You gave him POA without telling me. You were busy, she said. You're always busy. Dad put both hands flat on the table. His knuckles were scraped, like they always were. Liam, he said. Fix this. I am fixing it, Liam shot back. But I can't if he thumbed at me. Throws a tantrum in the middle of my timeline. I pulled a small stack of papers from my jacket. Screenshots. Printed bank wires. Emails. The parcel page with the mailbox address. I laid them beside the cake like another dessert. No more timelines, I said. Deed now, or I call the bank, and the county, and whoever else picks up when I say the word fraud. He laughed. A short, mean sound. You won't. I took out my phone and dialed, putting it on speaker. The bank's fraud line rang. A woman answered. How can I help? Liam reached for the phone. Evan. I stepped back. Hi, I said. I'm calling to report suspected abuse of a power of attorney and possible fraud on a helic tied to an LLC owning my parents' residence. The room held its breath. The woman asked for details. I gave them. Liam swore under his breath. Mom started to cry. Dad sat down hard, like a man who'd just set down something impossibly heavy. When I hung up, I looked at my brother. This is the clean version, I said. The one where we fix it before handcuffs. He stared at me like he'd never seen me before. You'd ruin me, he whispered. You did that, I said. I'm just turning on the lights. The DJ, bless him, quietly started a slow song, like a towel over broken glass. People pretended to dance. Aunt Naren hugged Mom. Uncle Joe steered Dad toward a chair. I put my hand on Dad's shoulder. I'll fix it, I said, and for once, it didn't feel like a trap. It felt like a job, with steps and an end. Liam walked out. He didn't look back. The party limped on. We sang anyway. Dad cut the cake with hands that didn't shake. When he fed Mom a bite, she smiled through her tears. Happy retirement, I said into his ear. Happy truth, he said back. Monday, 9 a.m. I was at a lawyer's office that smelled like paper and strong coffee. Julia sat beside me, legal pad ready. The attorney listened, didn't blink, and said, we start with 3 things. Revoke the POA. Freeze the helic. Record a notice of interest to stop any title funny business. He said, funny business, like a surgeon saying tumor. We drove straight to the notary. Dad signed the revocation, his jaw like a set screw. Mom signed too, cheeks blotchy. The bank put a hold on the line after 10 minutes of me and the attorney tag-teaming the phone. The county clerk stamped our notice with a thwack that still echoes in my head when I try to sleep. Liam called 13 times that day. I let them ring. He texted, "You're overreacting." Then, "You're killing a good deal." Then, "You're dead to me." I told the lawyer. He said, "Save everything." A forensic accountant, another phrase I learned that week, followed the money like a hound. The investments were crypto gambles, a speculative restaurant, and a coaching program that promised passive income to people who like to say mindset a lot. High yield, he'd said. High fantasy, it turned out. We filed a civil action, breach of fiduciary duty, conversion, fraud. I signed my name on papers that felt heavy. Mom asked if we could handle it quietly. The lawyer said, "We are." Family opinions arrived like junk mail. Aunt Naren, blood is blood. Uncle Joe, make him make it right. A cousin I barely knew, "Bro, that's brutal." My sister texted, "You always wanted a spotlight. Congrats." Dad didn't say much. He came with me to meetings. He sat straight in chairs too small for him. He looked at the ledger like it was a map he couldn't read. After we left the accountant's office, he said, "I taught you to share. I didn't teach you to be stupid." Then he put his hand on my neck, like when I was 10 and missed a grounder. "You're not stupid," he added quickly. "You're good." Mom cycled through stages like a slideshow. Denial. "It's a misunderstanding." Bargaining. "Can't we just put it back?" Anger. "How dare you sue your brother?" And then, a quiet that made me nervous. She touched the pear tree in the yard. "I wanted us all to sit under it," she'd said. "We still can," I told her. "Maybe not all," she'd whispered. Meanwhile, rent and life didn't pause for drama. I still auditioned. I still sat under fluorescent lights while a room of strangers watched me eat fake cereal and say oat milk in 4 different moods. I booked a guest spot as a distracted barista. I learned my lines between bank calls. Oat milk, fraud affidavit, extra shot, freeze the account. It felt absurd and completely normal at once. Liam finally responded through a lawyer who used phrases like vigorous defense. We offered a path, return the funds, assign the deed, sign a consent judgment, join a payment plan, avoid criminal referrals. He countered with a letter accusing me of financial elder abuse because I controlled Dad. I wanted to throw that letter through a window. The attorney said, "It's noise." We pushed discovery. Subpoenas went out. The mailbox rental company sent copies of forms with Liam's signature. The bank coughed up transfers labeled LLC to LP Personal. His real estate company had one asset, our house. His portfolio was a spreadsheet with colors and no cash. At home, pragmatic things kept me upright. We installed a deadbolt Dad could work with a big, friendly key. I labeled the breaker box. I taught Mom how to spot phishing emails, and she printed the list like a new recipe. Julia made soup and told me to nap. I didn't, but I liked that someone said it. 6 weeks in, the judge granted our injunction. The deed couldn't move. The line couldn't grow. Liam texted traitor. I didn't answer. When he showed up at the house one afternoon, Dad met him on the porch. I watched from the window, like a kid again. "I'm your son," Liam said. "I have too," Dad said. Then, after a beat, "Don't come here without your lawyer." Liam laughed, a sound with no humor in it. He looked at the pear tree, at the couch through the window, at the house that should have been simple. "You'll regret this," he said. Dad's voice was gentle and terrible. "I already do." That night, I sat on the floor beside the couch I'd picked, and Julia sat with me. "I feel like the bad guy," I said. "You feel like the adult," she said. "It's new." The civil case crawled, as cases do. We got a mediator. We spent 4 hours in separate rooms, sending offers across a hallway like messages in bottles. Liam wanted me to drop the narrative on social media, even though I hadn't posted a word. I wanted a clean deed and a payment plan with teeth. We left with a tentative agreement. He'd sign the deed, sign a confession of judgment for the Hellick balance, and pay it over 5 years. If he defaulted, we could enforce without another fight. He signed. We recorded the new deed with Dad's name on it. The clerk stamped it and smiled at me like a person who'd seen both kinds of stories. I took Dad to the counter. "Read it," I said. He traced his name with his finger, softly. Mom cried into the sleeve of my jacket. We went home and sat under the pear tree and did nothing for a long time. Family didn't snap back like a rubber band. Some relatives took Liam's side because it was easier than facing their own debts. Others called me and whispered, "Proud of you," like it was contraband. Holidays rearranged themselves. We had Thanksgiving in the backyard with 3 folding tables and a borrowed heater. It was small. It was enough. The best part was the quiet. The mail came with Dad's name on it. The water bill said owner. The bank app didn't surprise me. Mom texted pictures of the pear blossoms and nothing about money. When the truck made a funny noise, Dad said, "I'll take the bus till payday," then grinned like a teenager because the bus driver recognized him from the party and waved him on free. I put the framed photo of Dad in the hard hat on the mantel. He picked it up. "I had hair," he said. "You still do," I replied. "Not like that," he countered. We laughed. Laughter felt like furniture we could sit on again. I didn't become a different person. I became the same person, just with boundaries. The headline is simple. I bought my father a house. My brother put it in his company and borrowed against it. And I ripped the curtain down in front of a banner that said, "Thank you, Frank." The details are messy, eh? They always are. There were signatures I didn't read closely enough. There was trust one placed where paper should have gone. There were 100 tiny, sure, okay moments that built a trap I lived inside. Here's what I know now, in plain words. If someone wants your money but hides the paperwork, that's not family, it's a pitch. Convenience is the word people use right before they take your keys. Love is not a POA. And protecting your parents from your brother? That's still love. I keep the stamped deed in a cheap black frame on Dad's bookshelf. He dusts it like a trophy. Mom taped the county clerk's business card inside a kitchen cabinet, like a talisman. When the mail comes, Dad says, "Owner," and it lands on the table like something we earned. Liam and I don't talk. Maybe we will someday, after the last payment clears, after he learns how to apologize without an invoice attached. Maybe not. People like tidy arcs. Life keeps handing me ellipses. On set, I still play men who can't say what they mean until the last scene. In life, I said it at the party. "Show me the deed." I hear that line in my own voice now. It's become a script I can use for other things. Show me the contract. Show me the terms. Show me the respect. Dad asks sometimes, "You okay, kiddo?" I say yes, and mostly mean it. On good days, I make eggs in their new kitchen and fix the wobbly chair and leave before anyone can hand me a bill. On great days, we sit under the pear tree and say nothing, which is a language we started learning late and speak better every week. If you're standing in a room where the music stops the second you ask for proof, listen to that silence. It's telling you everything. Ask anyway. Ask louder if they tell you to lower your voice. You're not ruining the party. You're turning on the lights. At my dad's retirement party, I asked, "Do you like the house I bought you?" He blinked and said, "What house?" I stood up. I asked for the deed. I got it eventually, with stamps and signatures and consequences. I didn't want a victory. I wanted a house with a pear tree and a man who can sit under it without wondering who he owes. We have that now. This isn't revenge. It's repair. And if you need a line for your own scene, take mine. Show me the deed. Then keep asking until the paper in your hand matches the promise in their mouths.